Welcome to the Golf Improvement Podcast, episode 161.
Welcome to the podcast for golf lovers and enthusiasts who are looking to take their games to new heights. Dedicated to custom club fitting, short game improvement, and effective practice to improve your golf game. This is the Golf Improvement Podcast with your host, Tony Wright.
Hello, this is Tony Wright from Game Improvement Golf in Oak Ridge, Tennessee with the Golf Improvement Podcast, dedicated to sharing useful information on professional club fitting, short game improvement, and effective practice techniques. I create exceptional golf clubs. You shoot lower scores. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, however you were able to celebrate it. And also, since today is Cyber Monday, enjoy that too. It's always a pleasure for me to interview and learn from a good friend and master club fitter, Keith Chatham from Precision Fit Golf in Kerrville, Texas. Today he shares some of his initial experiences and knowledge about how he's used the new Washan EQ-1 single link designs to help golfers play their best golf. And just so you're listening for it, there's a little mental learning gem that he shared near the end of the interview. Valuable for learning to hit single-length clubs, but also valuable for any of your efforts to practice and improve your game. So enjoy listening to Keith Chatham talking about EQ-1 single-length club fitting.
www.gameimprovementgolf.com.
Hello, this is Tony Wright with episode 161 of the Golf Improvement Podcast. And I want to welcome back a good friend, AGCP Master Club Fitter and Club Builder Keith Chatham from Precision Fit Golf in Kerrville, Texas. Today, Keith's going to share some of his personal learnings and insights about a great topic, fitting and the not custom fitting. I'm not using that word anymore. Professional fitting and performance of the new Washan EQ-1 iron, hybrid, and fairway wood designs, the single link design. So, Keith, thanks for taking the time to do this today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will be, and you're welcome.
Well, first of all, I think you, like many of us, have had, amazing is maybe not the exact word because it's a difficult year. But in terms of the amount of business, you've had a lot of business in the middle of the pandemic. Talk a little bit about, some of the surprises you've had in your business in 2020.
Well, first surprise was being shut down for 7 weeks. Okay, I had our governor of Texas golf business and fitting and everything was non-essential, so we were shut down for 7 weeks. When I came back on May 10th, which was a Monday, May 10th, that week I could come back in. For the first week, I only had 3 customers. Three. That was it. And I thought, boy, this is going to be bad. When I came to work on Monday, the 17th, the morning, and I came in a little bit early, probably 30, 40 minutes earlier than what I normally do, I had 4 guys waiting at the door for me. Yeah. And, so it's been a little different because of the fact for the first month and a half or so, I did not do any personal one-on-one fittings because I was waiting to see exactly what was going to happen and or if we had to shut down again and everything. But I had to rearrange my shop on the open area in the front. I had to rope off an area, and I would only let 3 people in my shop besides me at a time. But when I first opened up, then I had a pick-up and drop-off area just outside my door. I've got double doors, big doors, those 42-inch doors. Yeah. And so I closed one of them permanently and made that the drop-off area. I put a box up there that people could put their credit cards in or cash or anything. I would always leave a couple of envelopes every day in there so they could do that. And, they would tell me, had a note on my door, which I still have, by the way, is that if they don't see me in the shop or anything, please call first. And they could call me and talk to me, see what they had and what they needed me to do and everything. But the repairs just went off the rooftop. I mean, in 18 years here in Kerrville, for that first month, I did more repairs in that first month than I did in any 1 year of those 18 years.
Wow.
I mean, it was just, off the charts. And I only sold one set of Sterlings during that time. I did not do a one-on-one fitting. The guy told me, he said, well, he was about 77 or something. He said, I'm wanting to move down to a senior flex. Do you have any good senior flex irons? And I said, yes, I do. And so I made him the one set. So I had that, and then I had repairs. So during that 3 weeks, that first week, I told you I only had 3 come in, and I only made $135 for the entire week. And I've got a shop to pay for.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, the next 3 weeks produced over $11,000.
Oh, gee. My gosh.
Yeah.
And that's just all people in Kerrville? Or, must be from...
Wow. Just Kerrville area.
Yeah.
And, basically everything had been shut down. Even the golf courses and the country clubs and everything had been shut down. So no one was even doing grips or anything. And so when I opened up, here came, it was like putting a big hole in the dam, like Hoover Dam, putting a big hole in it, man. Here they come. And, I also had to reset my hours. I started coming in a little bit earlier, a little bit later, going home a little bit later. And I'm still doing that in some instances and stuff. But July picked up after that, even picked up even more. August was in July was about the same. September has been my biggest month so far this year. And so, it's still going pretty good. I am this week seeing a little bit of a slowdown as far as customers calling me or customers coming in, but it is Thanksgiving weekend. So I don't know, how much traveling or family stuff is going to be going on. But I have just these last few days and stuff have seen just a little bit of a slowdown. Although I do have for December, I've already got 5 fittings scheduled. So December's looks like it'll be fairly good. But it's been totally different.
Wow, it's just amazing. But that's great. That's really neat to hear. Well, as I said, today we're going to talk about the new Wishon EQ-1 single-length irons, hybrids, and fairways. And I thought as a start, sort of as a package for fitting a golfer for these clubs, what's impressed you the most so far?
I'll give you 3 things. No, actually 4 things. Number 1, smash factor. Yeah. Smash factor is very high on everything, and even the irons. Irons have a high smash factor. The hybrids have a really high smash factor. I'm seeing everything from 1.48 to 1.50 almost with everybody. The fairway woods also come in real good. I see a lot of 1.46, 1.48. So smash factor is very good. Ball height. The way that Tom reconfigured these with all of those weight ports, especially the weight ports on the bottom of the sole. If someone's not getting the ball up, you can put all your weight on that sole, and you will see them hit the ball higher. That's definite. Launch Monitor has told me they're hitting them high. I had a guy that fitted for, I used the 5 wood for a couple of fairway woods, and, he was only hitting the fairway. He told me he didn't hit them very high. I checked it, and it was in about the 13-degree range. So I loaded the bottom, the 9 grams and the 2 6 grams. I loaded it up, and we tested again, and we started getting up about 16 to 17 degrees. So it raised it considerably. So ball height, angle of descent into the green, and that's hybrids, everything with the ball going higher they're seeing that. I like it, especially like with the hybrids and the irons, because of the fact that with all the other companies doing anywhere from 4 to 7 degrees stronger lofts, the angle of descent comes in very low, and people are having trouble holding the green, okay, because they get too much rollout. And these things don't do that. Here again, with all the weight ports and everything, you can load the weight on the bottom and get higher ball height, which will produce a higher angle of descent going into green, so they don't roll as much. The last thing that I have noticed with almost every customer, I have been able to decrease their dispersion. So even off-center hits go straighter with these clubs, especially those doggone hybrids. The hybrids to me have probably been the most amazing of the EQ-1 product line. And everybody I've put them in just tells me they love them. And I made a 5 hybrid for me. And I tell you what, I hit a nice little soft draw with it, and I get very good distance and great dispersion with it. So those are the things that I've noticed the most.
Yeah, we're going to come back to some parts of that. Yeah, but as a way to start too, it makes me remember. I mean, the first fitting I did with irons, and the guy, if you've seen some of my posts about the guy that is hitting a lot of great high shots and pretty good dispersion. But the first shot and the 7-iron I tested with was 34 degrees, I think 32 degrees, isn't it? And the loft of that was 6 degrees weaker than the present 7-iron he was playing. And the first shot with the shaft and configuration that wasn't right went as far as in the air as the shot he was hitting with his old 7-iron. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is really going to be fun. So I think, exactly what you're saying. The things are high performing. You shared a bunch already about the irons. Any other things related to the EQ-1 irons that you haven't shared so far that you've seen?
Well, yeah, there's a couple of things. What I'm really seeing on that dispersion, I said something about the dispersion, but in a lot of cases, I'm able to reduce the dispersion by 30%. Yeah. So that's pretty good. In the irons, one of the things I find a little bit difficult about them, and that's from the club fitter, club builder side, they're much harder to bend for loft and lie. And that's due to the 431 instead of the forged that we saw in the Sterlings and the softer steel in the lower arms and stuff. But, on the positive side, though, these things are really good. I mean, when you hit the center and hit them, most people just say, "Well, I didn't feel it, but God, that's what feels good is because you don't have any fillback and everything. You're just hitting them real good and solid and everything." I will say though that with the irons, 5-iron and 6-iron, if you make the 5-iron and the 6-iron, not the 5 hybrid or 6 hybrid, but the irons, a lot of people have problems with ball position. And I'm finding that used to I'd tell people with incremental length, say, go out and after about 4 or 5 rounds, you're going to start hitting real good. Pretty much you have to double that for hitting the longer irons. Because I've had people that they're just so used to putting a 5-iron or 6-iron a little bit more forward in their stance. And if they know they pull a 6, they've already got the brain muscle memory of the 6, and so they're putting it forward. So that's something that they have to work on. But I've seen some positive results. I had a call yesterday afternoon from the second guy that I did fittings on, and he was having that problem. It was 5 and 6-iron. He was hitting it fat a lot, topping it, doing everything. He was moving the ball position around. He told me he played yesterday, and it was his 12th round so far with him. And he said, I don't even know what happened. He said, but every time I hit the 5-iron or 6-iron, he said, man, it was fantastic. So it took him 12 rounds to get used to that. So now I've kind of gotten to the point where that I tell my people that this probably is going to be one of the hardest things, and even if you make the hybrids the same length as the irons, single length and stuff, you got a 4 and a 5 in your hand, you just have to remember, same ball position. If I'm making 37 inches, well, I'll tell them, same ball position as your 7 iron. If their 8 iron is 37, where a lot of OEMs have gone a half inch longer now, I'll say, put them in the same position as your 8 iron. That way, it'll be a little bit better and stuff. But so those are some of the things that I'm seeing with the fitting and everything. But once everybody figures that out, I mean, these things are great.
And the longer irons do launch higher, I believe, than the Sterlings did, and have a little, at least got the guy recently seen a little better pleasing sound off the face, don't you think?
Well, they do.
You notice that?
The 5, 6, and 7 of the Sterlings, had a little bit higher tinkety sound and everything, where these don't have that, and so that's a good positive also, because some people did say something, I don't like the sound of the 5, 6, and 7 in the Sterlings, but when they hit them, they loved them. And everything. So that's a little bit different, which is very good and positive and everything. One of the things when you did your talk with Tom Wishon and everything that I think a lot of people out there need to realize is the reason these things are hollow is with the stronger loss, it allowed Tom to lower the center of gravity as far as he possibly could. And this is when we get a good ball height. I got on launch monitor a week or two ago, and I got one of my old 5 irons that was 27 degrees, okay, and I got one of the demo 7 iron, both 37 inches of the EQ-1, which is 31. Yeah, 31. No, wait. I said
32, I think.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 34, yeah. 31. 34 and 31.
Yeah.
Okay. And the EQ-1s was launching just a tad higher on the launch monitor. I was getting about a half of a degree more launch angle on them. So that's very good because back to the deal, that means that your angle of descent into the green when you've got the short arms is that it's going to come in at a good angle and won't roll.
And that's a huge thing. I think that's a huge thing for people just, really wanting to control their distances. Yeah. Well, you said about the hybrids, the thing that got me the most and has continued to get me the most, and that is the high smash factors. I mean, the first shot that the first guy hit that I did a fitting with for the hybrids, and I saw a 1.48 smash. I've never seen that with a hybrid. And it's consistently 4.8, 5.0 kind of numbers.
Yeah, same here. The very first guy I did a fitting with, he took the 5 hybrid, and I have the 5 hybrid for the hybrids as my fitting club for the EQ-1s. And first hit was a 1.49. And I'm sitting there going, what? Second hit, 1.48, 1.48, 1.49. I mean, nothing was below 1.48. And every shot he was telling me, oh, man, these feel great. I like these, And he would see, the dispersion and stuff on the flight scope. And, after we hit about 4 or 5 of them, we went out there and he saw like a 7-yard dispersion, 7-yard circle. Boy, he loved that.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned once in the forum, too, that so far you're kind of sticking with building your hybrids with, the 335 tip shafts, get a little more launch probably than trying to build them exactly like the other ones. That's kind of the way I'm going to. And, so far tending to be half inch longer than the irons. I don't know if that's the sort of realm you're in terms of these hybrids. Maybe comment on that a little bit.
Okay, well, what I'm doing is I can test because I use extensions. Okay, I
Right.
use the Parage extensions. I can test them at the single length rate. Let's just say if they, had a 6 iron, if they wanted a real 6 iron, I could test that 5 at the single length
Yeah.
and see what distance and dispersion that we get, and then I can add on a half an inch more with the extension, and then I can add 1 inch, and we can compare. You know, uh, a lot of the people are so used to the big name OEMs are making all of their hybrids about an inch and a half to 2 inches longer than the irons, and I just flat tell them, I say, well, it's no longer a hybrid. Once they do that, it's a fairway wood. And so, some of them, about half of them want them longer. The other half have stuck with the single length. So it's about a 50-50 deal for me right now.
But then you can add up you can add a little more weight to it too. I mean,
Yeah.
plenty of weight. Now, what is it, 669? I mean, it's amazing the total amount of weight you can add to these heads with almost no issues, right? To get to different setups. So,
Yeah, well, some of the guys will tell you, I start off because since I'm in a senior market, I want my guys to hit the ball high and get the best carry distance I can probably get for them, all right? Because generally the ball speed's not that much that it's going to roll out a lot anyway. So, I load all the weights on the bottom of the sole first and test with that.
yeah.
And see what we get. And then I'll make a couple of changes, put some down in the housel, maybe take the 9 gram out of the toe, put the 9 gram in the housel and see what happens. But I got to tell you, I would say, of the 8 fittings I've had so far, I think 7 of them I've loaded the bottom weight ports first and have stuck with that.
Are you, and the other thing that, at least standard comes in at 63-degree lie, are you doing any like flattening of them a little bit? Sometimes,
yeah.
I guess it depends a little bit on what the length is, because.
Yeah, it does. But generally what I'm doing as far as line angle with them is I have them set it, just keep it at 63.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I check everything, and I have some of the old Sterlings that are already bent flatter.
Yeah.
And I can take them, use lead tape to get the MOI fairly close, okay, and then use the groove ball test just to see where I am and see where we are on the day of the fitting. And I'll use that and set everything and order the plugs to that lie angle. But when they come in, I have them come in and we do a separate lie fitting right there. When they come in the end to pay me the final payment, we do a lie fitting that day. It's part of my fitting and stuff. And then that way, when they walk out the door, they've got the correct lie. I can bend everything right there in the shop. It generally only takes me, 30 to 40 minutes to do that. But I have found that to be the best way.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done any fittings with the woods yet, but I did build a 7-wood and 4-wood myself, and I built them to the length of my, one of my favorite clubs has always been my 7-wood, 40 5/8 inches. And, I did that because I talked with you a little bit about that, and you suggested building them at your 7-wood length. But when you did that, you said something I'm not sure a lot of people know, but that is that you've played single length fairway woods for 15 years.
Yeah,
Which I thought was really amazing. So talk a little bit about that first.
Okay. Actually, it's longer than that because 7-wood I have in my bag. When I lived in the Round Rock area by Austin and everything, I was a Sonartec dealer when they became popular. And my 7-wood in my bag is still my 7-wood Sonartec. And put an SK fiber shaft in it, and I've been playing it now since 1999. And what I've always been someone who thinks that the closer you hit to the center or can hit on the center, you always get your best bang for your buck. I've always thought that. And so in all of my fittings, I don't do the standard half-inch fittings and everything with most people. And I generally ask them, what's your favorite club in the bag? That is, when you pick it up, it's a go-to club that you're going to hit it a pretty good distance. And then I base everything off of what I do around that. And generally what I find is that, it's 7-iron, 8-iron. But if they have like a 5-wood or a 7-wood in the bag for fairway woods, it's generally one of those two. And those are shorter clubs than the 3-wood or the driver. And when I have checked some of the people, when they've told me that, I find out that when I spray the face and everything, that probably the reason why is because they're hitting closer to the center of the face. And so to me, a club should be fit so that you get the best bang for your buck.
The thing I've liked about playing the 4-wood and the 7-wood at the same length so far is, I would say in the past, sometimes, I'd hit my 3-wood maybe longer than I'm hitting this 4-wood. Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But I hit the 4-wood, typically 10-ish or so yards longer than the 7-wood, but I hit it better more times because of that length.
Yeah. Definitely. I would probably bet that if you put spray on the face when you're out at the range or the golf course or something, you'll probably find out that you're hitting that length and everything closer to the center of the face.
Yeah. So, any other things related to the wood so far that you've seen? I guess you already said a little bit. Again, high smash factors.
Yeah.
They look great. I mean, the heads are actually. I think if I'm just thinking about this now, the 4-wood head and 7-wood head look a lot the same kind of size, right?
Yeah, I don't notice much difference between the 3-wood and the 4-wood as far as size and everything. They look to be very close. There may be a little bit of a difference, but I'd have to look in the specs that Tom writes down for them and stuff and see. But they're very close and everything. But being in a senior market, I'm not going to test with the 3-wood. I'm going to test with the 4-wood, especially with it being 17 degrees, and especially with Diamond Golf. I can always ask them to put the loft at 17 and a half or 18, and then with the 7-wood, put it 1 degree higher also, so I still have the 4-degree difference in loft. And so, that's how I feel about it, and that's how I do most of my fittings and stuff is if they're wanting a fairway wood in their bag, I start talking to them and I tell them, say, we're older now with all of my seniors, including me, and we need help getting the ball up in the air. So let's go with clubs that have a little bit more loft, get more launch angle. These things have a high smash factor, so we're going to get some good distance from them. And so far, everybody has trusted me on it.
Yeah. Well, as we're sort of getting close, talk a little bit, and gosh, we all had to wait till like June to get these things, didn't we? I mean, that was very frustrating for Tom, but success stories so far in EQ-1 fittings, maybe both from high handicap golfers. I've got a woman that's playing a hybrid and a fairway wood now. I'm just waiting to hear back from her. And lower handicap golfers, if you fit any folks with them yet.
Well, the lowest so far handicap that I fit with is a 10 handicap. Okay, that's the lowest. I have fit a couple of people that are in the 22, 23 handicap. One guy that I fit said my average score is around 95. He called me yesterday and told me that he had, with his new, and I had put a 4-wood, 7-wood, and 5 hybrid, and then the irons on him. he shot 88. First time he's been playing golf for 20 years. First time he ever broke 90 in 20 years.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, so that's real good. The 10 handicap golfer was the golfer that was having problems with the 5-iron and 6-iron for the placement, okay, for ball position. And he also had called me yesterday. Well, actually, I think I called him because I wanted to know, how I'd been working on it and everything. And he's the one that told me, he said, well, for the first time, went out, this was my 12th round with him, and he said, I didn't even think about it. All of a sudden, I just started hitting the 5 and the 6, just wonderful, just hitting them real good. But he had always had a problem, and we have emailed back and forth maybe 15, 20 times, and he's telling me, well, how do I test for, what the ball position is and everything? So I went through my spiel about testing for it and everything, and he just wanted to put that 5-iron, up in his stance.
A little up, yeah.
Yeah, and just a little bit longer. And so that came through yesterday. Now, he's a 10 handicap. He shot 74 yesterday. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's
and
at his course, that was only 2 over.
Wow. It's so funny that you say that, too. I mean, the guy that I shared some stuff with on the forum, and I saw him again yesterday because I delivered a 4 hybrid to him, okay? Unfortunately, it was really cold. A ball would go nowhere outside, but and wanted him to hit it some. But he started talking again about it. He said, now, boy, I'm really having to fight a little bit about ball position because I just wanna move it forward because of the way it was with the other clubs. It's a constant struggle for people for a while until they, I think, like you say, just lock that in, until they just really feel it and experience it. There you go. They're ready. They're ready for you, Keith.
Yeah. I forgot to. I'm back in my little office.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Let me tell you a little something that I do. And I did this, and I actually told Andre, and he even tells me he does it and stuff. I tell people when they have a little bit of a mistake like that, especially with the brain muscle memory and everything, I tell them that like this guy that was struggling, I told him, I said, when you hit one of those fat or you top it, it's because of the ball position and stuff. I said, just lean the club up against your body, take your right hand and just slap the back of your left hand. Just slap yourself and tell yourself, brain, don't do that anymore to me.
That's
seriously,
great.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm serious. And I told him, I said, when you do that, I said, you don't have to say it loud, but I actually want you to speak it so that you and your brain will be able to interpret exactly what you're doing. And he told me at first, he said, nah, I wouldn't do it and everything. But he said, I got so frustrated, I started doing it. And he said, all of a sudden, I started seeing, at first, he couldn't hit the 5 and 6 at all. Nothing.
Yeah.
Good. And he said, well, all of a sudden, I started seeing I was hitting about 50% of them and everything. And he said, I went and practiced last Friday. And he said, I hit myself 3 times. I slapped myself 3 times. And he said the next shot was perfect shots and everything. And yeah, it seems a little bit, I would never tell my customer that or anything like that, but, the hardest thing to change in golf is the 6 inches between your ears.
Yeah.
And, we got to change that. And you have to do something sometimes drastic or funny, okay, in this case. But you're telling yourself, not to do that. And so that's just another little thing that I use sometimes.
It's a great thing. I'm absolutely going to remember that. And I hope, our other friends and people who listen to this will do it. So any other final things related to, if there's anything else about golf, but related to, the new Washan design that you want to share with people that you haven't so far?
Well, I think I've shared most of the things. A good positive about it is I really didn't have to change very many of my my fitting shafts or anything, because I could use the same thing that I was using for the Sterlings, because the single length, and you're going to test for the different lengths and everything. And so that's pretty good. I have added just a couple of shafts, but not much. I'm still using, some of the shafts and everything. I've had very good luck with that S2S white hybrid shaft in those hybrids. I've had very good luck with those. That shaft seems to get the ball up in the air. It's 335 tip, and they come 335. And for most of my players that I've had done that, I did fit one guy in the Aerotech I-80s, and he wanted the same Aerotech I-80s in the hybrid, so I had to, I had Diamond Golf bore those out, and I used that. But they hit the ball high. They're very good, well made. Plus, in my opinion, okay, I'm going to say this: they're made by the best golf designer on this planet. Okay, they're designed by the best golf designer on this planet, and he's been that way for 25, 30 years. That I've known Tom, and I'm very loyal to him. But the EQ-1 woods and hybrids are very good. They're so versatile. I think that's the best thing that we can say about them. They're versatile. You can make them at any length from to match your single length set all the way up to even going longer and everything, because of all those weight ports he has on there. So they're very versatile clubs. I think they're going to be a win-win for the customer and for all of us club fitters.
Well, Keith, I appreciate you taking the time. And, usually around this time, we're somewhere in Columbus, Georgia, learning and stuff. Yeah. And it's nice to get a little learning time with you today doing this. I'm going to put links in the show notes to your website. It's great that you're safe and busy and, having fun, right? I mean, you're still enjoying getting to see a lot of golfers, and it's great. I still enjoy it. I've been in this business since probably around 1986, and I still enjoy it. And don't know how much longer I'm going to be in it, but for the time being, every morning when I come to my shop and I open that door, I always tell myself that's where I want to be right now. That's a great way to be. Yeah. Well, hang in for a minute after I turn the recording off. And again, thanks so much. Okay.
The Golf Improvement Podcast is sponsored by Tony Wright and Game Improvement Golf. Tony creates exceptional golf clubs. You shoot lower scores.
Well, Keith, as always, thanks for taking the time to share some of your master club fitting knowledge with golfers and professional club fitters today. I put 2 links in the show notes, one to Keith's Precision Fit Golf website, and the other if you want to learn more about the new Wishon EQ-1 single link designs. I'm actually looking forward, right after producing this podcast episode, to right away going back and listening to it again. My shout out today is to a good friend, Scott Sikorsky, PGA professional, director of custom fitting for Srixon, Cleveland Golf, and XXIO, and also a certified Aimpoint Express instructor. Roan State golf coach Chris Griffin and I are going to take an Aimpoint Express class with Scott in about a week, and we thank him for being able to arrange that for us. I put a link to his personal website, Making Golfers Better, in the podcast post. Well, that's it for today. My annual interview with my friend Mike McFadden is coming at the end of December, and there's also another interview coming soon that's one I'm definitely looking forward to bringing to you. But in the meantime, take care and stay safe.
Game Improvement Golf, your source of information and inspiration to become an exceptional golfer now. www.gameimprovementgolf.com